Hi, you're tuned in to Jackie and the Other Side of Beauty. Now, in today's video, we are going to be recapping the products that I used for the month of February in terms of my Shop My Stash, featuring all Black-owned makeup brands. Can't say it enough. And you'll see me do this eye look in today's video and then go right into recapping all the products that I use that were Black-owned makeup brands. So if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I invite you to do so. And with that said, let's go ahead and jump into today's video. Okay, you guys, we are live. In today's video, I just wanted to recap some of my Black-owned makeup brand products that I used in the month of February for my Shop My Stash. Usually I don't get to spend much time recapping my products, and this month I was able to create today's look and also the look I did for the Curve collab. And I was able to create a look using my Black-owned makeup brands in that video as well. So since I've already taken the time out to do most of my makeup, you know, my base was done because it was done from this morning going to work, but I didn't put any eyeshadow on. So I just kind of freshened up my base and then went ahead and did the eyeshadow look. So let's talk about these products that we had, or just, you know, kind of look back on some of the products that we used. And I guess we can start with eyeshadow palettes first. As you've seen in today's video, I did use the, oh, let me just say, in case you didn't read it in a few of the comments that I made, I did end up switching out some of my palettes that I used in my Shop My Stash. I had forgotten that Glamlight was a Black-owned makeup brand. And I also remembered that I had a palette from Ace Beauté. So I took out some of my Juvia's Place palettes because I felt like I was a little heavy on Juvia's Place. So I took out a few of those and just replaced it with 3 of my palettes, 2 from Glamlight and 1 from Ace Beauté. Okay, so if you don't remember seeing this being pulled, that's why. So this is the Chocolate Martini palette by Glamlight. And as you saw in the video, it's just a beautiful palette. I love using this palette. And it performs very nicely on my skin tone. And I just am so happy that I got another opportunity to use it. Haven't used it all that often, but I'm so glad for this month's video where I got a chance to put it in action again. Next, I have another palette by Glamlight, and this is the Dirty Martini palette. And this is what it looks like. Another gorgeous palette. Oh my gosh. Now I'm wishing I had used this palette for today's look. This is another gorgeous palette, and again, formula is A1 with Glamlight. And then I went ahead and used the Ace Beauté. Now this is more or less a fall palette, but I do like the mattes in this palette, especially for a work-related look. So this is the Falling For You palette by Ace Beauté. Now this is my only palette from the brand, and this is what it looks like on the inside. So I did enjoy using this palette also. Like I said, I used some of the mattes in the palette. And I think one day I used very lightly this metallic shade right here. So this was nice to use as well. And the formula is very nice. I think this was after the revamp of the formula for Ace Beauté because this performs really nicely. And what else? What else do we have? Oh, now you guys will be so surprised to find out the palette that I use most often. It was this palette right here by Colored Rain. Because I actually thought about decluttering this palette, but when I tell you that I use this palette so often, I just enjoyed it. I really love using this shade right here, going in with this shade and this shade, both of these. This was just so, and of course this underbrow shade, but I enjoyed this so much, and I really wasn't afraid to use any of these metallic shades up here. They're just gorgeous as well. Usually I would gravitate towards these purple shadows, but I just kept it very neutral with this shade right here, and I loved it. Any more products? Oh, and you guys, I actually wore this Pat McGrath palette to work, and this is the, let's see, the Mothership. Okay, this is, what is this? No, it's probably on the box. So I'll have to pop it up on the screen. I forgot what mothership this was. So yeah, I'll have to pop it up on the screen, but this is what it looks like with the special packaging. And this is what it looks like on the inside. And I actually wore this palette to work, you guys. I didn't like glam it up too much, but I did get a chance to use this shade right here. Of course, this shade right here, and this shade on the lid. I really liked it, and I think I popped, not realizing I had that green right here. I think I popped this in the inner corner, but it worked out just fine. So I was happy to play with this palette again, because when I tell you, I don't pick up this palette often enough. So it was nice to be able to play around with that palette again. And actually, you guys, honestly speaking, I think I used every one of my palettes this month. Either just a couple of shades or the whole palette for an entire look. I did use my Juvia's Place palette. This is the Blush Rose palette. I played around with this. And I think I only did a couple of shades out of this palette. And you guys saw me with the Curve collab. I did dipped in here for a few shades. I think it was this one to line my eyelid, but I also used this palette for work as well. This isn't my first time using this one for work. And lastly, as far as the palettes, I did get to play with the Pat McGrath Labs Mothership Rose Decadence palette. This one. And I think this was the one I mainly used for the Curve collabs. Right here, and I used it since, so I like this shade, this palette a lot. Okay, so those are all the palettes that I use for the month of February, and each of these palettes, I think this is maybe my first Shop My Stash when I actually dipped into every single palette. So that just goes to reiterate again how I was glad it was a full month, even though February is a short month. I was glad it's a full month and I got to actually have more time with my palettes and to use them. And next we have my Fenty Beauty. This is my Pro Filter powder in the shade Nutmeg. You guys have seen me probably use this time and time again. This is just one of my favorite powders, and I don't think that Nutmeg actually changes the color of my foundation all that much. So I really liked it, and I think it's just a great powder. It's very light and airy on the skin, and I just like the way that I can set down my foundation with it, and it just keeps it looking so good. And here's another Fenty Beauty powder. I actually pulled two powders as far as for under eyes. Remember, I pulled the Sephora 2 because I thought I was going to get tired of using the shade Honey. So I said I was going to pull it, but I wasn't sure that I was going to use it. And I did not use it, guys. I was determined to stick with my Fenty Beauty powder, and this is in the shade Honey. And again, I just thought, I said, oh, you're going to be so tired of having honey underneath your eyes. But I use this every single time, and it just worked out fine. I didn't even think to reach for my Sephora powder. And for blush, which I just started using maybe in the last week or so, this is the Fenty Beauty. This is in the shade Summertime Wine. Because it kind of fell back and got buried by some other of my products, and when I noticed that I had it, I went ahead and started dipping in it, and you saw how pigmented this is. So this is an absolute love for me. I'm going to save my products for last. I enjoyed using my Oma Beauty. This is in the shade Barbados. This is one of my favorite highlighters. This is what it looks like. And this is always done me well. So I enjoy using that highlighter all the time. And it was nice to reach back, you guys, and actually pick up this Colored Rain Times Power. This is their duo. It has a blush and a highlighter, and this is in the shade Damage Control. I remember I used to use this all the time. I have two different ones, but I only pulled one of them this month. I used to use it all the time, and it was so nice. I have really been wanting to have a blush that had more of a pinky undertone to it. So this just served me well. And this highlighter, honey, this highlighter does not play. And when I tell you it's so silky smooth, I'm not going to swatch, I'm not going to swatch, I'm not going to swatch. But this highlighter, isn't that gorgeous? Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. So like I said, I was happy that I actually noticed it in my Shop My Stash and pulled it because I have been loving this. I use this duo quite a bit. And then right here, I think this is the last blush I use. And this is my Pat McGrath blush. And this is in the shade, what shade is this? Paradise Venus. I forget every time. And you know I had to put this in the rotation. This right here is what Paradise Venus looks like. Isn't it just beautiful? I think this is so gorgeous. So you know I use that blush. Okay, so something that I didn't use that often, you guys, and I was surprised. I mean, I did use it a few times, but not as much as I thought. And that is the bronzer by Fenty Beauty. And in the shade Cocoa Naughty. I thought I would use it more, but I didn't. I just used it a little bit. But this is definitely a bronzer that I like. I've already made quite a dip in it. If you guys can see it from the side, I made quite a dip in this. And I'm, like I said, happy to have this one in my collection. Then I have my LYS bronzer. And this is in the shade Strength. This is what the LYS bronzer looks like. The packaging anyway. And this is what the shade Strength looks like. One of my favorite bronzers. And then for highlighter, you guys saw me use my LYS highlighter. And it's in the shade Aim High. This is another highlighter that does not mess around. Gotta swatch it just a little bit. Don't tell nobody I'm not swatching. And this is it right here. So pretty. And you guys seen me use the Fenty Beauty. This is the Diamond Balm and Cognac Candy. I've used it probably 2 to 3 times outside of the initial time that I used it for my Curve collab. And this is what it looks like right here. Oh, that is just such a pretty shade. So pretty. Okay. Let's go to our concealers really fast. Here we go. I think these are the only 3 that I pulled. This is my Lip Bar Concealer, and this is in the shade... This is Cinnamon by the Lip Bar. Very nice. I use this quite a bit. I remember I thought it was okay, but I use this quite a bit. Dare I say I use it more than my Pat McGrath concealers. And I have it in MD22 and MD24. And actually, these are the concealers that I have on today. And then for foundation, well, let me go here to my LYS bronzer in the shade, this is in the shade Strength as well. I really didn't think that, you know, I was going to use this bronzer all that much. Actually, I use it as a contour, but when I pulled it last month, I really didn't use it all that often. So this month, you know, I I just made up my mind to use it, and I used it quite a bit. I think I have it on today. Yes, I have it on today. And this is what the shade looks like. It's so deep on my skin tone that it's just not practical for me to use it as a bronzer, but I have been enjoying using it as a contour. So this is by LYS Beauty, and this is in the shade Strength. Now let's go to our foundations. Now, first up in the rotation is my Pat McGrath. This is in the shade MD 24. This is what it looks like. And again, I wore this in the Curve collabs. I wore this, I wore it several times. I'll just put it at that and I'll explain later. But this is a nice foundation, and I'm so glad again that I pulled it because I hadn't been pulling it too much lately. And my Fenty Beauty, this is their Pro Filt'r Hydrating Longwear Foundation. I did get a chance to use this as well a few times. This is a good foundation and I really like it. My Fenty Beauty, this is my Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Longwear Foundation. And I'm still right here, you guys. I think the big turn off with this is that my pump is so nasty. Let me wipe it off. This pump is a hot mess. Now, the reason that I think I did not pull this more often is because the pump doesn't work. The pump does not dispense anything. So, you know, I would have to pry this off, which is not hard, but I would just have to, you know, kind of unscrew this part and then just take out the little wand in here and then get foundation that way. And anybody got time for that every morning? So, plus it's messy because when you take it out, it drips. And so I think that's really why I have not finished this yet. And I think I heard someone say that they had the same problem with the pump on the Fenty Beauty, and I think that they were able to clear out the pump by running it under water. And I may try doing that just to make sure it's just not clogged, but that is definitely the reason that this foundation has not been emptied. It's just because it's a hassle because the pump will not dispense any product. But other than that, I did unscrew it a couple of times and wear it. I wanted to really wear it to see if I could finish it or get really close to finishing it, but it was a turn off because of the pump. And lastly, I think this is my last oh no. Oh, I forgot to pull this one. So this one right here. So next I have my Uoma Beauty foundation, and this is so red. This foundation is so red that I did take the LA Girl and try to mix it and kind of warm it up a little bit and take some of that red away. It worked a little bit. I just didn't have enough time to really get a good mix of it, you know, going back and forth with it because, you know, I was getting ready for work. But it did help out a little bit. And what I ended up doing, I mean, when I put it on, I looked in the camera and I was like, oh my gosh, my face just looks so red. And so what I did is what, you know, everybody typically does. I remember in that day particularly, I took my Pat McGrath, the MD22, and I went ahead and went in with it and, you know, highlighted and put it everywhere that I could put concealer. I even put it underneath my contour just to kind of, you know, warm up the face a little bit more. And it did work well that day just with doing all of that. But I felt like I had so much product on my face, so I didn't like that. But yeah, I may give this one more shot before I make up my mind if I'm going to keep it or not. So yeah, I did use this one time. And my last foundation that I used, and I have to be honest and say that I used it all the time. Now, there was one week, there was a few days during last week, I believe it was, where I misplaced the foundation, you guys. And I just found it Saturday or Sunday, I believe. But this is the foundation that I've been rocking all the time. And it is my Juvia's Place I Am Magic Natural Radiance Foundation. Happen to have this foundation on today. And I just love it. I have a total review of this foundation. So if you haven't seen that video, please check it out. I really like this foundation a lot. And for primers, I'm spending too much time. For primers, I have my Fenty Beauty Hydrating Primer. And I also have my Fenty Beauty Matte Primer. So these are the two primers that I was able to use this month. And for setting sprays, since they're here, I had my Fix It, Forget It by Lancôme. And I finally got a chance to really use this setting spray. And I also have my Cover FX Dewy Finish Setting Spray. I think I used this once. And then, of course, I have my Fenty Beauty Makeup Refreshing Spray. I use this every day. And for eyelid primers, I think we're just about done. I use my Colored Rain. This is the paint base in the shade Wheat. And I also use my Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Amplifying Eye Primer. I can't really see. And this is in Avisa Pink. I use this one as well. Oh, and I forgot I had another powder and bronzer. My Colored Rain bronzer in the shade Naughty Spice. I did use this quite a bit as well. This is what Naughty Spice looks like. And I also was using my Beauty Bakery Bite Size Pinch of Flour. And I have it in the shade Almond. So I just used that one last month, I believe, but I was able to continue using it. And I think those are all of the products that I use besides my lipsticks. And I'm not going to pull all of those back out. I have either Pat McGrath or Fenty lipsticks. And I had the one by, I can't remember. Oh, here it is. And my lipstick by Mented. Everything else was Alma Beauty. I had a couple of those. Pat McGrath and Fenty Beauty. And then the Lone Wolf is Mented Cosmetics. And I think that's all the products that I use for my, I don't want to forget anything. So that's it. Those are the products that I absolutely love. Now let's go on to the products that I did not care for at all. And first up is this Danessa Myricks. This is the Dew Wet Balm, and this is in the shade Hot Water. This is what it looks like. This very beautiful, very pretty. See, I really was trying to figure it out. Just trying to figure it out. I just don't think I like this. I really, mainly it's because I don't really know how to use this. It's very, when it sits, it gets a little oily. Also, I guess I really don't really know how it looks pretty on your hand. I really don't know how to use it though. I've tried using it as a highlighter, and to me it just left a little, not really oily, but maybe oily. Here it is right here. A little oily spot, kind of like on your face, then I would set it with powder. Really didn't see it that much. So I did not enjoy using this, and I only tried to use it maybe like twice. I even dabbed it in the center to see what it would look like on as a lipstick, because I wanted to wear it and use it, but I just couldn't figure it out. So I am going to go to the Danessa Myricks site and check out the description again and see if there's a video or something on this, because I know I'm not making the most of this product, but I just can't figure it out. So I'm going to check it out before I make the decision of not if I'm going to keep it or declutter it. And then speaking of decluttering, I also had the Juvia's Place Bronze Duo in the shade Dark. And this is what it looks like right here. It's so pretty. I hate to declutter it. I really do. And I do enjoy using this, but I don't want to keep this just because I enjoy using this as an eyeshadow. I don't want to keep it for that. And when I use this shade right here, it's just so, it just pulls so red that I will go on top of it with this. And it kind of helped out a little bit, but I don't know. So this is on the chopping block as well as maybe the Danessa Myricks. So there were really 3 products that I really didn't enjoy all that much. And these are the 3. You guys have heard me say over and over that I'm not sure about this Alma Beauty. But then I'm adding these 2 to the mix. So of course, you know, I hate to declutter things. So I will try to use these products again just to be sure. And then if I'm still not happy with them, they got to go. Okay, so I think that is it, you guys. I hope I didn't leave anything out. So yeah, I think that's it. The rest of the items that I used were like mascaras, eyeliners, perfumes, and none of those items were Black-owned beauty brands. So that's why I'm not showing you or displaying those items. But yeah, that should be all of the items that I used for my Shop My Stash in the month of February, featuring my Black-owned makeup brand products. Just love saying that. So I enjoyed, like I said, using them, and I hope you did also enjoy seeing the couple of videos that I did using the products. So if you did, please consider subscribing to my channel, giving this video a thumbs up, and ringing the notification bell. It just lets you know each and every time that I upload a video. And share the channel, because you know I don't mind. And lastly, please know that you are always welcomed and wanted here on my channel. And with that said, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this evening's video. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care, my friends, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. So this is the look right here.